Today, we are dealing with burnout. And not the kind that some knucklehead in a Mustang does. Let's talk about that. Woo! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk About That. I had to throw that Mustang comment in there from this morning.
It's like they were everywhere.
Mustangs were everywhere, y'all. But that's okay.
Not the wild ones either.
Oh.
Very tame and lame. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. We apologize if you drive a Mustang. Not because we're sorry, but because you drive a Mustang. Oh, my Lord. I am really sorry. That was bad. Lord, forgive me. Half of our audience is now gone.
I would drive one.
Me too.
Right back to the dealership. I'm sorry. This is not the joke portion of the show.
It is not, but you know what? We might as well, right?
I can't wait to hear them.
Oh, you're going to be in for a real surprise.
Do you have any idea what the most expensive streaming service is at this moment?
No, I do not.
College.
Very nice.
Which bird has the worst manners?
I don't know.
Mockingbird.
Hey-o.
What do you get from pampered cows? Saw a lot of those today, too.
I don't know.
Spoiled milk.
Spoiled milk. Oh.
This is an oldie, but one of my favorites. Two goldfish are in a tank, and one looks at the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?"
Yes. I love that joke.
There you have it, folks.
I've heard a version of that. Two goldfish are in a tank. One looks over at the other and says, "You drive, I'll shoot the gun." It's like, oh my gosh, that went violent.
It's hilarious.
Oh, all right. Today we are talking about battling burnout. So we'll start off with defining burnout. Burnout is defined as exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. So burnout, some people are very familiar with this. Some people are possibly dealing with it at this exact moment.
Yeah.
In the natural, in the physical, or even in the spiritual, possibly. But today we want to talk about that season of burnout in people's lives and try to talk about how we can battle that, how we can conquer it, so that we can get back to where we need to be.
Yeah, that's good.
In all the areas of our life, because we've all been either mentally burnout or physically burnout, or and I'm not talking about just tired. Burnout is a little bit more than just being tired, because we get tired of a lot of things.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that we're burnout. And we'll deal with that in a little bit. But I do want to go ahead and start off and say thank you for Pastor for being on here.
Thank you for allowing me to be on here.
And to our first question, what does burnout look like?
Well, I think you've already hit the nail on the head. You just really drove it in.
I need to add that sound effect.
Burnout. You know, oftentimes we look at it and we say it's extreme stress, but it's beyond extreme stress.
Right.
Because with burnout, it's like you're empty. You're void. There's nothing there. It's like you've accomplished nothing and you won't be able to accomplish anything. So you're just like, I'm giving up. I'm a failure. There's no results in anything that I do. There's no motivation to continue because you feel like everything you do is a failure.
Yeah.
Like you fail at everything. And
wow.
I'm going to touch that later. That's not real, but we'll touch that later. The question now that we're answering is, what does burnout look like?
Is it just a simulation? Like life?
No.
No.
When you reach the point of burnout, you don't care. You just don't care anymore.
Right.
Because you're like, it's useless to even try. Literally, let it all burn becomes your battle cry.
Wow.
Just let it all go. I don't care anymore. I don't care how tall the grass gets. I don't care how many cobwebs are in the windowsill. I just don't care.
Yeah.
There's no reason to care because you feel like everything you do is a failure. There's always going to be an obstacle. There's always going to be a hindrance. So you just, there's a difference in, what's the two words? Discouragement and disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Disappointed. I don't know which one could be worse, but discouraged is really, I feel like it should have been one way, but something else happened.
Well, disappointment is what I am.
No,
discouraged is something I am not.
But it's just burnout is I just don't care anymore. I don't care what happens. Just I give up.
Yeah,
I'm just going to lay down and I'm just going to wait on my day, my appointed time. Because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can do. I've done all that I can do, and now I'm just here.
That sounds very vaguely familiar to a Bible character who called down fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
And consumed hundreds. Forgive me for I don't remember the number exactly, 800, 900, whatever it was. Prophets of Baal.
Well, you had 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of the Grove.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't too far off.
I think.
I think that's right. But, there he was. We've all probably heard a message taught, preached, something along the lines of, Elijah was on the mountaintop doing the work of God, calling down fire, slaying the enemy.
That's right.
And then the next thing you know, he's running into the woods and cowering and crying and just laying down, sucking his thumb, being ready to just give it up.
Yeah. How do you go from there to there?
Exactly.
And he calls down fire from heaven. And usually that's when it happens. After your greatest, I hate to say achievement, but after your greatest achievement, you'd usually fall into the lowest of lows. But think about it this way. If you're halfway up the mountain and you fall back down to the valley, it's not nearly as far as if you fall off the top of the mountain.
That is true.
So if you go from the top of the mountain all the way to the valley, it feels like a long, 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 long way. But if you're only halfway up the mountain and you go down, it's a long way, but it's not as long. The journey's not as far. So it doesn't feel as drastic.
Yeah.
But when you go from, you've just called down fire, it's consumed everything, and then the prophets of Baal, the prophets of the Grove have been slain. Now it's like, where do you go from there?
Exactly.
A lot of people talk about how to get on top of the mountain, but they don't tell us how to come down.
Yeah. I've heard some good men have this conversation.
Just do the research of how many people fall, more people fall coming down than they do going up.
Yeah, and that's a sad thing. Even to relate this to us now, you're not necessarily you or somebody else, you've preached a big camp, like you're the one preaching all the big camp meetings, you're the one preaching the big youth revivals, the youth services, and doing all these amazing things, and you're seeing countless souls, you're seeing revival pour out all over the place. Yeah. And then just like Elijah, you see these amazing things happen when you're working in the will of God, and then we'll hit this. I'll go ahead and hit it a little bit right now because I think you said a little bit too, and I'm going to say it a little bit later too. Is it's that pouring out and filling back up, and you've poured out this huge amount, and whether it be little by little or just all at once, whatever, you've poured out revival, done whatever, you've poured it all out, and then you're empty. Well, yeah, of course you're going to feel like you're burnt out and defeated at that point, because what do you think happens to the car when the gas tank runs empty? It's not going to feel like going 0 to 60 in 5 seconds anymore.
That's right.
It's not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
I think that we need to do, all of us in ministry need to do a better job of teaching those that we're discipling. When God elevates you,
yeah,
you're going to have to learn how to sustain in the elevation and in the valley. Also, whenever you're not, there may be a season in your life when you are preaching the camp meetings and all the big meetings and whatever.
Yeah, literally or even metaphorically.
And then all of a sudden they're asking somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's just,
someone else's season.
Nobody wants to drink strawberry milk every day. Nobody wants to eat strawberry ice cream all the time.
That's fair.
It's just
90% of the time, but not all the time.
There's other people that have, there's 8 billion people in the world. There's other people that have things that they need to say as well, or that have things to say. It's not because there's anything wrong with us.
Right.
But learning how to deal with that, I think, is the difficult part. How do you recover? How do you, how do you continue? Maybe Elijah said, maybe I'll never call down fire again, but here I am. How do I go on? So he calls down fire, and then he runs and hides in a cave because Jezebel sends out some letters. How do you go from that? When the reality is, we know how you go from that, because every single one of us have had to deal with that letdown in life. It didn't turn out like we thought it should. Come on, Elijah. What did you thought that all of a sudden the kingdom was going to turn back to God? Well, he told you there were 7,000 that had never bowed their knee. You just found out that there were a whole lot more people for God than what you thought, because you thought you were the only one. You were happy. You were great when you thought you were the only one. But now that it's not what you thought it was, all of a sudden, there's a lot going on there. But I think that every one of us have at some point felt, a little bit like Elijah. We're ready to go hide in the cave because we're empty, we're void, we're maybe unsure of what's going to happen. So
exactly.
Again, I think that burnout looks like I just don't care anymore. Just blah. Let it go.
Yeah.
Just let the storm come and just blow it all away.
Oh man. Which is a very understandable and relatable place to be, but it's also a very tragic and sad place to be in the same time, whether it be for yourself or somebody else. And this will roll right into our next question, because we've already touched on it a little bit, is how does burnout affect the church and ministry and all those things?
When you reach the point of not caring, it affects every part of your life.
Right.
It's going to affect your personal life. It's going to affect your ministerial life. It's going to affect, if you're bivocational, it's going to affect every part. And I would say that if you're bivocational, I don't think you're more likely to be burnt out, but I think you're just as likely, because I think that a full-time pastor could easily be just as burnt out.
Oh yeah.
However, when you reach that point of not caring, now it's affecting 3 different areas. Well, yeah. really, we have a personal life that is us and God, and then we have our family, which us and God, me and God, and my relationship with Him is going to affect my family.
Yeah.
And then my relationship with my family affects every relationship I have outside my family, and it all trickles down from my relationship with God. Now, the danger, what happens if we get burnt out in our relationship with God?
Right.
I feel like I should be able to call down fire, but I can't. I'm not.
Lord,
so when you reach the part of that point of not caring, then it's going to affect every aspect of your life and your ministry. Because when you stop caring, you don't care what message you preach.
Yeah.
Okay, I can let ChatGPT write my messages for me. You don't care what doctrine you're teaching. It's a dangerous place to get, because you start trying to find that satisfaction somewhere. Yeah. And when you're trying to find satisfaction somewhere, you typically look for it in all the wrong places.
Right.
When you don't care, all of a sudden you don't care about your spouse, you don't care about your children, you don't care about how your decisions are going to affect them, how your decisions are going to affect your relationship with your spouse. You just don't care. That cynical attitude toward everything just becomes who you are. You're just a cynical person. I just don't care. I don't care about maintaining my vehicles. I don't care about maintaining my yard. I don't care about maintaining my house. I don't care about maintaining my relationships.
Right.
Because there's outward signs of inward problems.
Very true.
When we see these things on the outside, it reflects what's going on the inside of us. So you can even put yourself in a box in that moment where you think that everybody and everything is against you. Because you're like, no matter what I do, there's always something against me. There's always something working against me, and I can't accomplish what I think needs to be accomplished. So you've put yourself in this box where all of a sudden everything is against you.
Yeah.
You can't accomplish anything whenever you feel like everybody and everything is against you, because you start off on the wrong foot. You start off defeated because you're already under the gun because everything is against you. I mean, that affects every part of your life.
It does.
The police officer pulls you over because you're speeding. Well, all of a sudden now you think he pulls me over because he's got something against me. Your boss comes to you and says, "Hey, can you change this? Can you make some edits on this or that?" Your work's kind of getting a little sloppy. Well, all of a sudden your boss is against you. Well, no, you're not. Your boss is doing his job and wants you to do your job, but you don't want to do your job, and you can't see that because you're burnt out. It's not happening the way you thought it would. You think you should have his job by now or her job by now. In reality, that's not the reality. So
that's true.
It's reality becomes augmented.
It does.
It's really twisted and warped. It becomes warped. We have let me reference this. So in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's book of Sherlock Holmes, there's a scene in one of the books where Sherlock watches Watson look up at a picture. And he doesn't tell him this at first, but Sherlock looks at him and he says, "It was a tragic thing, wasn't it?" And they haven't said anything for hours to each other. They were sitting there reading or whatever, and Holmes just sees Watson look up at a picture. And Holmes says, "It's a tragic thing, isn't it?" And Watson looks up and he says, "Absolutely." He says, "I just can't believe that civil war in America, just brother again." And he's like, "I never even said anything. How in the world did you know what I was thinking?" We haven't talked. And that's when Holmes explains to Watson how he makes all these deductions and comes to his conclusions. But he says, "There's a flaw in my method." He says, "I'll readily admit there is a flaw." He said, "And the flaw is if I start off at the wrong point," he said, "the conclusion I make is also going to be wrong."
Wow.
He said, "So I can make a lot of wrong deductions and come up with a wrong conclusion." I know that's a very... so if you've never read it, you should read it. It's just a good...
it's a good point, though, because...
How many times do we get suspicious?
Yeah.
And what we're suspicious about is not reality, but then we let ourselves walk down this trail, and it's like we started off... So really that's what he was saying. If we start off on the wrong trail, we're going to end up at the wrong destination.
Yeah.
So that's what he was trying to explain to Watson. He explained to him how he did it. He said, "I saw you look at the picture." And he said, when you looked at that picture, which was maybe a general in England or something in Great Britain's history, somebody that he knew was, maybe they had some kind of skirmish in Great Britain, or more specifically in England or something. I don't really remember. But he knew that would have led Watson's thoughts to the Civil War, because it was so tragic. 800,000 men died in the Civil War, and it was brother against brother. This household, even in the single household, it could have been brother killing brother. So, it led him to that conclusion, and he explained all that to him, but he explained how easily it would have been for him to have been wrong. So I think sometimes we can do that. We start off on the wrong foot. We start off at the wrong place, and we think that we should end up in one place, but we don't. but it's because we started at the wrong place. There is no gift of the Spirit that's the gift of suspicion.
Right.
Or speculation. There is
Right.
no gift of the Spirit there. So I think we have to be wise about what reality is, and not let reality get warped. And I think we're going to talk about that in the next, or in one of the other questions.
Yeah, and it's a wild thing because we can live in a delusion that we've put ourselves in for multiple reasons. But those delusions can be so strong that we don't think and see reality the same way.
That's so good.
And it's even worse nowadays because there's so many different things that are battling for our attention and our time.
Man.
I mean, we did talk about that. But whether it be these shows, these series, these books, there's millions of things that can distract us and consume us, and we can start viewing things through a warped viewpoint.
Yeah.
And we can start looking and thinking and, why is it my life like this? Like it's a fantasy for a reason.
I'm trying not to get ahead. Go
ahead.
I'm just going to pause. We'll wait. I'll wait till the last question for that one. I'll say something more about that.
Okay. Don't forget that one then. Make you a little note.
I got it in my book.
What are some, going right into this next question, what are some of those signs of burnout that we can look for within ourselves, or we can help our spouse look for, or our brothers and sisters in the church look for?
So I think a lot of times we look at burnout and we say stress and burnout are the same thing. Okay, so let's look at it this way. I don't think stress and burnout are the same thing.
No.
I think extreme stress can lead to burnout.
Yeah.
Stress is too much on us at one time.
Exactly.
But let's think about this. When we're stressed, why are we stressed? Because we think that we still have a handle on it.
Yeah.
We think that we can still pull it together. We think that we can still make all the pieces come together, that we can work it out, that we can figure out the mechanics of it all and get it to come together and work out, and everything's going to be kosher.
Yeah. And sometimes stress isn't a bad thing.
No, we need some stress to get us out of the bed in the morning.
Because, relating this to exercising, working out, even a rubber band, you stretch it. Our muscles are just like a rubber band. We stretch them. We stress them. Yeah. We stress them over and over and over to make them grow stronger.
That's right.
Now, too much stress absolutely can become a bad thing because you stay under too much stress.
Blessed are the flexible.
You're going to pop.
For they shall not be bent out of shape.
I've seen some muscles pop, and it's
my goodness.
Terrible thing.
Terrible, huh?
Extremely. Oh, no pun intended.
Okay. So I think we have to understand the difference in stress and burnout. Stress is I still feel like I've got it under control.
Yeah.
It's all falling on me. But burnout is when stress goes too far and you're like, I can't handle it. It just goes, I don't care anymore. There's nothing I can do. You don't care what happens. You don't care how it turns out. And you don't care what anybody thinks that you don't care. If there's somebody that says, you don't care you don't care what they say about you. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody just put that on a t-shirt. I just don't care anymore. No, it probably is. I'm just kidding. Don't put that on a t-shirt. I just don't care anymore. Just burn it all. Let it all blow away.
Oh my gosh.
That's when you get to burnout, that's where you are.
It is. Yeah.
Because you feel so helpless. You feel so hopeless. That's my simple answer to the signs of burnout.
But yeah, watch for those signs. And going right back to that question of pouring out and filling up, if you can look at yourself and watch your own life, am I filling up enough? Am I constantly pouring out? And then what am I filling up with? That's going to be one of our next points. But leading up to this, how can we battle burnout?
Yeah.
So now you can pull out of your book and.
Well, you had some good things.
I have a few, but either way.
Okay,
I can hit them and move on, or you can either way.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so some tips for battling burnout that I've got listed in here. Just a couple.
Everybody needs to get their pen and paper out.
Get your pen and paper out
because these are good.
Get your book.
That's right.
Put it in your nuggets. Book. Mine's called Thought Nuggets.
There you go.
Tips number 1: rest. You
absolutely
need to rest. You need to rest mentally.
It's amazing what a little rest and a snack did for Elijah.
A cake that he didn't even bake. Somebody needs to preach that.
It's amazing what a nap and a little snack would do. Nap and a Snickers. You thought you were fighting a spiritual battle.
Hungry. He was hangry.
Nope, you were just hungry. Needed to take a break. Those
are some amazing commercials. My favorite one is the guy that turns into a granny.
Man, I haven't even seen a commercial unless it's like on YouTube.
It's pretty old. It's pretty old. It may have been like an old.
Was it a Snickers?
It was. If I'm not mistaken, the guy turned into Betty White, but I could be wrong.
I remember being a kid and the Kit Kat commercials coming on. It was the construction workers. I thought that was hilarious. Oh. My favorite line, talking about rest, my favorite line that Jeff Arnold ever said, Brother Jeff Arnold, sorry, didn't mean to be disrespectful.
No, good.
That I ever heard him say was, if you neglect the laws of health and rest, you will die with all your faith.
100%.
Just, it's like this. Some people say I'd rather wear out than rust out. And like, okay, bud, you're out either way. You're no good to anybody. You don't have to do either one.
That's a good point.
Drop out, lay out, rust out, wear out, you're out.
Sell out.
Sell out. Whatever, you're out. That's good. Rest.
And again, using that in every sense. Rest spiritually. You can't constantly be pouring out, preaching and preaching and preaching and teaching and teaching and teaching and never taking a moment to rest and absorb back in. Because we're not Superman. Rest mentally. Take a break from the shows. Take a break from social media. Take a break from the stress that's on your mind mentally and of course, physically. Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Some people tell me that they're too busy to sleep, and I'm like, then that's too busy. I used to think that because I used to sleep very little. I was young. Mm-hmm. We probably all have at some point. We've thought we were Superman and could work 50 hours a day and just go about life like everything was okay. But it takes a toll. If I'm not mistaken, there was a lot of really good studies done on this. Taking a little segue here on rest and messing, like people that work swing shifts and stuff like that. They mess up their circadian sleep rhythms.
Yeah.
And when that happens, like it takes years off of their life.
Absolutely.
Just work. Not even that they're not sleeping enough and resting enough, just throwing the imbalance in there.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be that balance of rest in our life. Number 2, stop carrying things God never called you to pick up.
That's good.
So easy for us to pick up all these extra things and even being good.
Can you name some of those for us?
Absolutely.
Or will you name some of those for us?
Absolutely. You could pick up too much work thinking that I've got to have all these nice things. I've got to make all these amazing luxuries for my family. Yeah. And I'm going to have to work multiple jobs. A new study actually came out that said it's like it requires a 2-income household to survive in America, in society now.
Yeah.
Or, equivalent of someone working really, really good. Yeah. And someone was throwing a joke in there and they were messing with it, the wife was messing with the husband. She's like, so yeah, since you feel so good about this, you go ahead and you start working 2 jobs.
Yeah, that's right.
Poking fun at that, of course, but
yeah,
it wasn't real steady. It was just her messing around being funny. But there's a lot of things like that we think we have to have when we pick up. So we pick off now I'm not saying don't pay your bills, don't take care of your family.
That's right.
When it's time to get the mule out of the ditch, get to work.
Yeah.
Don't make excuses for it. Because God did call us to work.
Absolutely.
God did call us to work a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. 6 days shall you work.
6 days shall you work. So just be thankful that we've got our 5-day, 40-hour work week. But
I dare somebody to say ministry rests on Sunday.
ooh,
I'm going to easy like Sunday morning.
Where's it at? Where's it at? Come on, somebody. Come on.
Whoever said easy like Sunday morning wasn't in ministry.
They wasn't in. They wasn't working in the church. They wasn't working in the kingdom of God. But speaking of things there, you could be stretching yourself so thin, even for the kingdom of God, that you're picking up things. A really good podcast. I was listening to it today for the second time, I think. I may have listened to it more. But Kingdom Speak was talking about one. It was Called to Be Saints. Let me actually.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Called to Be Saints. Super, super good podcast. But he was talking about how he feels like a lot of people take the scripture where he that desires the office of a bishop desires a good thing. He said that a lot of people take that and they run with it and they say, I should desire that office. I should desire the ministry. I should desire these things. And he was saying that too many people take that and say, you're enforcing desires on yourself of that you want this life that you envision that God has called for you, but it's not something that God has truly called for you. So again, if, and he said it, he went there and he said it. He's like, some people are pastoring today that should not be pastoring.
Sure.
He's like, because they waited, they waited for just the right time. They just, everything lined up and then they snuck in there. And it's like, they're suffering. The church is suffering. The people in the area are suffering.
Absolutely.
And it's a tragedy. It really is. That so many people want to do so many different things because I've got to have this platform. I've got to have this spotlight. I've got to have all these things. But it's not something that God has truly called for you.
Yeah.
And I'm under the opinion that God calls us into seasons. Maybe God calls you into pastor, maybe God calls you into pastoring at this season of your life. Then maybe he might call you to be an evangelist at some point. Not that you'll never go back to being a pastor.
Yeah.
But I feel like we got to be flexible enough that if God's calling us, now God truly is calling us, because don't get into saying I'm doing this and then I'm called to this and then it's too hard and I just want to go do something else.
I was challenged a few weeks ago as a pastor not to let myself and other people put things in my job description that God never put. So
that's a big one.
God's job description for pastors can be found in 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus, those pastoral epistles of Paul.
Yes.
And when you take a good look at those, it really, really makes you stop and think about, as a pastor, and Paul told Timothy to do the work of an evangelist, even though he was pastoring. So I think that one person can operate in all of those gifts at some time.
I agree.
But like you said, I think there are seasons.
Exactly.
And I think when one person makes himself available and is totally submitted to God, that he can use them in the offices and the gifts whenever he needs to, whenever he wants to. But I think that it's important that we know, Jesus said, if it is your will, I'll drink from this cup, but if not, then let it pass from me.
Right.
And I think we can get into a lot of danger. I think we can get in a lot of trouble, rather, by trying to drink from a cup that God never gave us.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
When an individual has been called to evangelize, and let me say, I don't want to pick on any one group.
Right.
But when somebody thinks that anything is a stepping stone to another ministry, another in the fivefold ministry, they've already started off on the wrong foot. If I think that as an evangelist, I'm going to eventually pastor, well, it's not a stepping stone. It's like people that want to be a youth pastor because they think that the next step is to be the pastor of the church.
Right.
Or assistant pastor because they think the next step. It's not steps.
Right.
We don't do one thing it's like people that start singing Christian music because they think it's a gateway to pop music. I'm going to get my name out there and I'm going to become popular as a Christian artist, and then all of a sudden I'm going to marry Vince Gill and I'm going to become, I'm sorry, did I say names? And then I'm going to become a popular country artist or pop artist or whatever. I'm going to start off by getting this great big following of Christian people, but then I'm going to slowly lead them into this arena of worldly music, and they're just going to follow me. And then all of a sudden I'm going to have them that I'm going to bring along, and I'm going to have all these other people that are all of a sudden. Well, you can't use Christianity as a gateway, or at least we shouldn't. You can't use a certain office or your gifting as a gateway to somewhere that you want to be.
Exactly.
We don't quit our calling just because now you can quit your calling if it was never really a call. If I stopped pastoring and said all of a sudden, I feel like God's calling me to travel the world and just prophesy or just preach, I could be totally out of the will of God and help absolutely nobody, but I'd be doing what I wanted to do. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misunderstand me. Some people stop pastoring because it's not turning out like they thought that it would or that it should. So they say, well, I'm going to try evangelizing. Well, instead of being an evangelist, now you've become a vandalist. Now, instead of evangelizing, you're vandalizing because you're not helping anybody there either, because you're not walking in your true calling. And I think that, going back, I think that God can use us all in a lot of different areas. However, back to the main point, don't let people put things in your bank account. Don't let people put things in your job description.
Wait a minute.
I was not operating in any gift there. I'm just letting everybody know.
If anybody wants to put something in our bank account. Oh, Lord help us.
But yeah, don't let people put things in your job description that God didn't.
Yeah. So that'll wrap up tip number 2. Stop carrying things God didn't call for you to pick up.
That's right.
And then number 3, stop only pouring out. We need to refill with good spiritual things.
Yeah.
And especially good spiritual things. We don't need to take that moment and say, all right, I'm empty. I need to refill. Well, I'm going to refill with garbage.
That's right.
Not that you can't indulge in some things and rest and take a break from things like that, but that's not the things that we should constantly be refilling. Yeah. I'm empty in the spirit, so I'm going to refill by going to Facebook.
Come on, somebody.
I mean, Lord help us.
That's the top of my list.
The least spiritual thing that we could come up with there. And so much drama, so much mess. Again, not that you shouldn't partake, but you should consume little by little there. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something, but but refill ourselves continually with good spiritual things.
Sure.
And go ahead, sir.
No, that's at the top of my list because this is me personally. I'm speaking as a man. Paul did that. He said, "This is me. I'm speaking as a." I personally think that burnout.
Wait a minute.
Can come.
Does that tell us that?
From having unrealistic expectations. I'm trying to be serious here.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to have a God moment. I personally think that burnout can come from having unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. Oh.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just deal with the social media thing.
Oh man.
I have so many feelings. I'm gonna try to do the godly thing and not let my mouth overload my tail. I think that, oh my goodness. I'm not trying to tiptoe through the tulips here.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be kind. If you are in ministry on Sunday after Sunday morning service, don't get on Facebook and look at everybody else's Sunday morning service.
Oh.
As a mom or dad or as a child, don't get on Facebook and look at everybody else's family photos.
Yeah.
Because everybody in that family could have been fighting 4 seconds before that picture was taken, and they could have put their best face on for 1 second for that camera to snap that photo.
And then right back to it.
Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
All the social medias.
graham
all
crackers,
the TVs, all the
whatever.
reality TV shows. It's all fake.
Let's be honest. We all know that you can take a picture at the right time in a service and you can make it look like that whole building is full of people.
Yeah.
And then you can go to those same places and then realize this place ain't never been full. You know? I mean, let's
fancy camera work.
Yeah, that's right. And you can do some amazing things with videography and photography. You can do some pretty awesome things. So
say nowadays you can just say, make my congregation full.
I've seen some people had people send some pictures of some really big deer and some really big fish. Then you see them in person and they're not so impressive in person because what you're seeing is not real. It's unrealistic for you to try to achieve those things that you're seeing that aren't real to begin with. They're not real. So unrealistic expectations always lead to burnout because you can never reach the benchmark.
Oh, man.
You can never get there because it's not real. That's good. It's a false reality. It's a warped reality. It's not real. There's no way to get there. There's no way to achieve it. It's not happening like we think that it should, so we get stressed. But we still feel like we can make it what it should be. I see this potential and I think this is what it should be. We cannot serve the mission. We have to serve God.
Exactly.
You cannot. That was in, oh my goodness, I have to give him credit. What's his name? Bevere. Oh no. How have I forgotten the name of the book?
I was going to say, don't give me the line.
Oh my goodness.
What's his name?
I'll remember it in a minute. The Bait of Satan.
Oh.
The Bait of Satan. Sorry. He was talking about serving the mission. I'm sorry. Serving the vision. Excuse me. Let me get it right. Serving the vision instead of serving God.
John Bevere. Okay.
John Bevere. It's dangerous to serve the vision and not serve God.
Wow. Yeah.
So we get stressed, but we feel like I can still make it happen. And then we get to the point where we realize it's never going to be what we think it should be. And then we start wrestling with that until we just don't care anymore because nothing's ever going to change and it's never going to be the way we think it should be. Well, the first thing we have to do is realize that you and I don't decide what it should be. God does. Sometimes we can see what could be. Could be does not equal should be. Just because the situation could be this doesn't mean that it should be this.
Right.
We start off on the wrong foot. We start off on the wrong path and we end up at the wrong place. And I'm saying it could be this way, but it doesn't mean that it should be this way. What should be has to be left in the hands of God, who has all things in his power. Since we're talking about ministry, you may be the most talented and gifted person in the world and things still not be the way that you think that they could be.
Right.
You can be looking at it and thinking, it could be this. The church could be so much bigger. We could be involved in so many more ministries. We could be baptizing so many more people. We could be seeing so many more people filled with the Holy Ghost. The problem is that is a could be, not what should be.
Yeah.
And God is saying, okay, not that it's not God's will for more people to be baptized and being converted. God knows what really should be, and he knows how and when these things should come to pass, and he knows how to put them all together. Now, if you want God to just, put his sleeves back down and sit on his hands, you go ahead, but you're going to be stressed and burnt out. You're going to experience it every day of your life.
Yes.
Or you can wrap your brain around the fact that God is in control of everything. We get frustrated. We can get frustrated by thinking that we have the ability to make it happen. But in reality, the church is a spiritual organism. It's not a physical organization. It's a spiritual organism. It's spiritual. It's not fleshly. It's not carnal. We cannot be carnal enough to make the church what it needs to be. And by carnal, I mean we can't be wise enough in the flesh. We can't be strong enough physically. We can't be disciplined enough we can't be self-disciplined enough in the natural to make things happen spiritually. It can't happen. The truth of it is, since the church is spiritual, we can only accomplish the task before us through the work of the Spirit, not the work of the flesh. The Spirit has to work in us, not we can't accomplish these things in the flesh. These things have to be done in the Spirit. We have to get this spiritual vision that comes from God. Because so many times okay, let's say that you, as a pastor, you know that you're called to pastor, you know that God has called you to that place, and I think that pastors can get in covenant with the location that they are called to. Do I think that, this could be controversial. I do think pastors can be called to a specific location, but I think
Sure.
that God can take that same pastor and put him in a different location and still use him in that city.
Sure.
And him still have the
Absolutely.
same call to pastor on him. There's nothing that ever says that God's going to leave one man or one family in one place for the rest of their life.
I agree.
Because I think that the church goes through seasons, and I think that people go through seasons, and I think that there may be a pastor that God needs to drop in a place for a season because he's what they need. That family could even be what they need for a season to get them to a certain place. And then God says, I'm going to use this man, this family in a certain way. And then when they have accomplished this task there, I'm going to send somebody else in, and I'm going to pick that man up, and I'm going to drop him somewhere else to do the same thing in another place.
Right.
To get that church, another church, to a place where they need to be. I think that's reality. Some people say I'm going to just plant my roots and I'm going to be here until God calls me home. Well, you should be there until God calls you somewhere else.
Right.
You should be there and say, I'm listening for the voice of God, and if he wants to move me 3,000 miles north, then he can, or south or east or west, wherever. If wherever he wants to send me, then that's where I'm going to go. It's not, I'm just going to plant my roots, and no matter what God says, I'm never going to listen to his voice again. If he called me here, he can call me somewhere else.
Exactly.
Fortunately, God doesn't pick us up and move us every 6 months. So people might, but God usually doesn't. Let's just say it that way. We can't serve our vision. We have to serve his vision.
Exactly.
We have to have,
that's good.
That's that passage that says where there is no vision, the people perish.
Yeah.
That's a spiritual vision. That's not a natural vision. Now I can get real carnal, and I can have a natural vision for the sanctuary.
Right.
What I think it could be, I could get real carnal real quick, and I could say, this is what I think that the sanctuary needs to be. I can look at everybody else around us, and I can compare our church here at the sanctuary. I can compare it to every other church, and I can find a lot of areas that we lack in when I do that. But that's not fair.
No.
You can't compare people to other people. You can't compare churches to other churches because it's not fair, number one, because everybody's at a different stage.
Exactly.
So to do that would be unfair, and to think that you're robbing yourself of what the people that you pastor, and I feel like I'm really talking to pastors, but you can rob yourself of who your congregation should be by trying to make them what another congregation is.
Exactly.
God didn't call this church to be another church. He called us to be who we are right here in Adamsville, Moore Chapel, Milledgeville, wherever we are.
Exactly.
I don't know where we are, but he called us to be who we are, where we are right now. The Pentecostals of the Tri-County Pentecostals. That's where we are. We're 3 counties and 85 cities come together that we don't know who they are, what they are, but we're here. We're together.
Unofficial names.
Yeah, we're just, yeah.
But to even aim that to a personal level, to a pastor, to a preacher, to a teacher, to anything like that, don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to make yourself fit in the little special shape that somebody else is fitting in perfectly. That's right. Because you're going to rob your ministry of the way that you teach, of the way that you preach, of the way
that's right. Your
personality can connect with other people.
That's one thing I thank God every single day that I learned early in my life at a session for ministers is the man that was leading the talk. He said, if you're not pastoring and you feel like there is a call of God on your life to pastor, when you start pastoring, do not compare the people that you pastor. Do not compare your congregation to another congregation.
That's good.
And I took that to heart 10 years ago, and I can truthfully say I've never looked at the people that God has called me to pastor here in this church or at the sanctuary and compared them to any other church and any other people, because they are not them. God has called me to pastor the sanctuary, and for it to be what God wants it to be right here. I'm not going to pastor it like somebody does in a city of 30,000 or 70,000 or 3 million. we're in a town of 190 people.
Right.
The next biggest town is 294 people, I think. Morris Chapel is just under 200. Milledgeville is just under 300 people.
Wow.
So within 3 miles of us, we have 500 people, which is a good number of people.
Yeah,
it
really is.
In a 20-mile radius, it's something like 35,000 people.
Wow.
In a 20-mile radius. Maybe more than that. I have to go back and look. I have a map with it on it.
That's impressive.
So I pastor it the way I feel like God wants me to pastor it. I don't look at it and expect it to be something that God never meant for his church to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean for it to be God's church. I don't get up and say, we're just a little country church. We're going to do things backwoods and backwards. No, we're just going to do things biblical.
Or to even look at it the other way and think, well, my God, we should be pastoring every single one of those 35,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, how economical is that?
Yeah. Let's see them all get in this building. Let's see the people that we have, even the ministers that we have here at the sanctuary. They do great. But let's see them minister to 35,000 people.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Now, could it happen? 100% it could.
Yeah.
But it's gotta work its way up there.
Moses and 70 men were able to minister to 3.5 million people. So
exactly. but you don't instantly, relating this back to the carnal, you don't go to the gym your very first time ever and say, I'm going to go squat 700 pounds. Yeah. You're going to be a pancake.
Yeah, you're going to do diddly squat.
Diddly squat.
You're going to do nothing.
So you've got to build your way up.
That's right.
You got to work your way up.
Don't give me no instant potatoes. Don't give me that fake stuff.
Oh,
give me the real thing.
Now it's getting real.
I want the real thing. And don't say you can make them and I can't tell. I can tell. I see that box in your pantry.
I was going to say,
not the gifts
I like some of them.
That's not the gifts either.
Lord help us. All right.
Some of y'all I just know.
That's good.
It's the gift of suspicion working. Gift of speculation.
Gift of speculation.
Gift of gossip.
Thank you, Jesus.
I just slipped in there.
Oh. All right, Pastor, is there anything else you'd like to leave us with?
No, I've already said too much. The only way I could say less is to talk more.
I like it. Is there any podcast, books, materials, anything you'd like to leave us with?
If you can get the Healthy Home, the leadership series, The Healthy Hectic Home by Marshall Shelley is a really good one. If you are battling burnout and dealing with stress in ministry, I think it'll really, really help you. And there's a lot of other good ones in that series as well. The Healthy Hectic Home by Marshall Shelley.
And I'll throw in that podcast one more time. So Kingdom Speak with Pastor Daniel McKellop. And that episode is Called to Be Saints. Really good episode. Go listen to it. All right. Thank you, Pastor, for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank each and every one of you for joining us on this podcast. Thank you for being part of the Kingdom of God, part of our podcast family. Now go out, share the gospel, teach some Bible studies, and love some people. God bless you.